Mrs. Ferret drove her car 184 miles the first week, and 168 miles the second week, and 152 miles the third week. What is the number of miles she drove in the first 2 weeks? Again, I want to start off by finding my question mark, then going backwards from the question mark to find the question word. If I go backwards, weeks to first, the, in, drove she, miles of, number, the, is what? What is the number of miles she drove in the first 2 weeks? What do they want me to pay attention to? What are they asking me about? Nakai?
The numbers of miles she drove the first 2 weeks.
Okay, the number of miles in the first 2 weeks. I'm glad you mentioned that because that's very important for this question. Number of miles in the first 2 weeks. Mrs. Ferret drove her car 184 miles the first week. Is that important, Nakai?
Yes.
Yes, that's the first week. 168 miles the second week. Is that important, Nakai?
Yes.
Yes, that's the second week. They did say the first two. So that means week 1, week 2. And 152 miles the third week. Is that important, Nakai?
No.
No, the third week is not important. They didn't say the number of miles altogether. They didn't say the total number of miles. They just said the miles she drove in the first 2 weeks. Okay. So she got a car, and the first week she had the car. She was driving around, doing all of her things. She had 184 miles that she drove in week number 1. So I'm going to put 1 and then a W for a week. First week. And then the second week, she kept driving her car around. She drove it some more. And in the second week, she drove it 168 miles. So this was the second week. What operation can I use here to figure out the number of miles she drove in the first 2 weeks? Kaylee?
Addition or subtraction?
Well, those are two options. Which one do you think works best here?
Subtraction.
Am I looking for a difference? Do they want to know which week she drove more? Or am I comparing my 2 weeks?
No.
No. Subtraction is really useful when I'm comparing or when I'm looking for a missing piece or a missing part, but that's not what's happening here. I started out with 184 and then she drove it some more. I want my number to get bigger. So what's going to help me to make that number bigger, Kaylee? Who can help her out? What's going to help me to make that number bigger? Kylie, what's going to help to make that number bigger?
Adding.
Adding. So we're going to use addition to put these weeks together. 184 plus 168. 4 plus 8. What's 4 plus 8? Noah, what would I get? 4 plus 8. Ah, disconnected. Okay. Who can tell me then? 4 plus 8. Nakai?
12.
12. Okay, I can't put all of 12 down here. I'm going to put a 2
Put the one at the top.
and put the 1 at the top. Okay, Noah, I'm glad you're back. Help me out with this next part. What is 8 plus 6, Noah? That one can be a little bit tricky. Take your time. What would I get? 8 plus 6.
$14.
14. Awesome.
Mr. Romero,
Yes, ma'am.
I'm gonna steal your student for a second, okay?
Okay.
All right.
All right, Noah. So we got 14, and then we added another one. So Noah, what's 14 plus one more?
15.
15. Again, I can't write all of 15 down here, so I'm going to put the 5 down here and carry over my 1. What is 1 plus 1? Kylie, what's 1 plus 1?
2.
We carried over another 1, so what's 2 plus 1 more?
3.
3. So in the first 2 weeks, she drove 352 miles.
Yep.